Today, we are not only comparing a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera with the Red Komodo, but it's specifically a Pocket 4K with a Metabones Speedbooster. If you guys saw my big camera comparison video last year, the Pocket 6K versus the Pocket 4K, in that video we saw the clear winner between those two cameras is the Metabones, right? So not only was I comparing the native mount of the Pocket 4K to the Pocket 6K, but also with the Metabones Ultra and the Metabones XL. The Ultra helps you get more of that Super 35 look out of a 4/3 sensor like the Pocket 4K, and the Metabones XL helps you get more of a full frame equivalent to kind of compete with all of those large format cameras that are running amok nowadays. Now, on that video, literally, I could not understand for the life of me, after doing those tests, why anyone would choose a Pocket 6K over something like a Pocket 4K and a Metabones Ultra combo, unless you absolutely needed that higher resolution. We saw where the Metabones just gives you that wider field of view, especially helps out with low light, not to mention when it's compared with the dual native ISO of these cameras. And then there's always that argument that DPs tried to have with me about, oh, the Pocket 6K gives you a better depth of field. It's so minimal, guys. It's like a third, maybe a third greater depth of field. For what I see, I will take the wider field of view and the better low light capabilities any day of the week, especially for, now it can be argued, well, yeah, if you buy the Metabones brand new, now you pretty much have a Pocket 6K, but I still disagree with that. I've never bought any of my Metabones brand new. I've always bought them on the used market, and you can get them anywhere from $400 to $500, let's be honest. But that's not really the point of today's video. I just wanted to tell you all of that so you get some backstory on what we're doing today. We are comparing the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K with the Metabones Ultra to the Red Komodo. And this is for all of my shooters out there that I know there's a lot of you guys out there, I know because a lot of you subscribe to my channel when I put out the BMPCC 4K starter kit. I know there's a lot of you with a Pocket 4K and a Metabones, maybe not a Metabones, maybe a Viltrox or some other, maybe a Kaipon Bavai, some sort of speed booster / focal reducer on your Pocket 4K, and maybe you're sitting there going, I wonder how this stacks up to something like this. This video is for you. So in these tests today, I was getting the most I could possibly get out of both of these camera sensors. With the Red Komodo, it was full frame 6K 17:9 HQ R3D RAW. And with the Pocket 4K, it was full sensor 4K DCI. We went with constant quality Q0. Okay, there is some debate, well, maybe constant bitrate 3:1 is better than constant quality Q0. I don't know, at the end of the day, this is what I did. But there is one last little caveat before we get to the tests, because we all know camera doesn't matter, right? It's just what tool do you need to do the job correctly? Best tool for the job, right? We've heard that over and over, and that is true. So I'm not going to reveal to you which camera is which in each of these tests until the end of the test, because I want you to decide based on your own aesthetic likes or wants, the camera that you choose. So here we go. Up first is the low light comparison video. Now this was actually inspired by something new that we've started doing over on the Dog Times Patreon DIY filmmaking community. This was an idea that the guys came up with in the Dog Times Discord chat. They wanted me to start giving them weekly lighting exercises or lighting challenges, things where they can be inspired by to create something, light something, you know, work that lighting muscle, work that framing and composition muscle. And I liked it. I thought it was a great idea. And plus me, I wanted to play along too, right? So this first one here, I said, okay, you have to light a kitchen at nighttime, interior kitchen at night, and you must have a table, a wallet, and a set of keys in your shot. And this is cool because when we start doing the work feedback on these, we can start seeing limitations that some people have based on the location and what gear they have at their disposal. Okay, so here we go. Here's the low light test. I'm not telling you right out the gate which camera is which. I will tell you this, that the Red Komodo was rated at ISO 320, while the Pocket 4K was at ISO 400. Now I know you're asking, why are you shooting at such low ISO and low light situation? If you don't understand that concept, I've done videos on that here in the past. They'll be down in the description below. I'm not going to get into that right now. Now, I know what you're saying too. Come on, Justin, what about that dual native ISO of the Pocket 4K? So I did. I jumped to the second tier just to show you guys that. Now, I did not rate it at 3200. If you guys been on the channel for a minute, you know I'm just not really a fan of 3200, even though I know it is technically the dual native ISO, but I much prefer 1250. Again, I think it's because it's the lowest ISO in that tier. Again, links to these thought process down in the description below.
I need to Black skies glowing. The wind blows high. Winter's light. Cold and dry.
Okay, the next one was a dynamic range / IR test. And this is kind of a twofer here because not only are we seeing how far we can push the highlights in the background while maintaining proper skin tones in the foreground, but also I specifically chose a neutral density filter that did not have IR cut, or at least doesn't advertise that it has IR cut. And so that was just a way to see how each of these camera sensors handles IR pollution, if any. Now in these dynamic range tests, because I wanted to preserve the highlights, I was rating both cameras at ISO 1000. Again, if you're not familiar with these practices, there will be links down in the description below to videos where I talked about that before. Finally, I cannot do a video without doing a proper rolling shutter versus global shutter, even though we've already kind of done a video like that in the past. I made that crazy rig with the Pocket 4K and the GH5 and the Komodo. And then I've also, done a few different tests and videos here showing skateboarding and Hollywood stunt performers and things like that. I'll have links to all of those videos down in the description below if you missed those. But I wanted to do another global shutter versus rolling shutter test for the sake of this video because I've been getting a lot of comments and messages lately about, oh yeah, my fan game is so strong now that I have the Komodo, or I don't think I'd be doing whip pans that fast. And people still aren't understanding the concept of why I think global shutter is the biggest seller of the Komodo. So again, here we did with just some simple action with a little punching bag. And I think you're beginning to see, or I hope you're beginning to understand the importance of a global shutter. Guys, anything with action, or if you shoot a lot of handheld, would you want the jello rolling shutter or would you want something crisp and clean? But again, it just kind of rolls down to what tool is right for the job, right? And I do understand that, but for me, the majority of stuff I shoot, I know I would reach for a global shutter any day of the week. Okay, and the last one is I did want to compare media capacity, right? Because we get a lot of talks about that Blackmagic RAW versus R3D RAW. I have a 256 gigabyte CFast card, one I'm putting into the Pocket 4K and another one I'm putting into the Red Komodo. I'm going to format each card in each camera and then we're just gonna look at what the highest quality RAW in each camera I can get on that card. So here we go, I am formatting this card now. Okay, so first up we'll go with the highest, the constant bitrate 3:1. I'm pretty sure everyone would agree with me that that could be the highest quality you can possibly get out of this Pocket 4K. So we're going with constant bitrate 3:1 at 4K DCI there and 39 minutes. 39 minutes is what you would get on a 256 gigabyte CFast card. 39 minutes, 4K DCI, constant bitrate 3:1. Let's see if we change that to constant quality Q0, if that changes at all. Nope, it's the same, 39 minutes. And we are formatting the card now at 6K 17:9 R3D HQ RAW, 24 frames per second. As you can see here, I'll zoom in, you get 14 minutes. So it's not that much crazier actually. Now granted, again, remember these are only 256 gigabyte CFast cards. And if you're wondering, why does he have such small CFast cards? I've already talked about that in quite extent on my AKS for Komodo video, and I'll have a link to that down in the description as well. Okay, there you guys go. Again, I know that my test videos are not the prettiest thing in the world, but that's not the intention, right? I wanna break the image, so to speak. I wanna see how far I can push these things and make it more real world in terms of like run and gun style, just grabbing the camera and moving. These cameras are so small, they're built that way. I mean, let's be honest, but again, you guys have seen me build it out to crazy looks as well for, those those kind of bigger jobs and more narrative jobs where you're not just kind of making it up on the fly, even though when you're working at my budget, a lot of those jobs you are making up on the fly, even if it is a narrative thing. But hey, c'est la vie. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you're new here, I encourage you to tap that subscribe button. And if you're interested in getting more content like this, but kind of more in-depth and a real-world look at what it's like being a freelance cinematographer in LA as a startup, I recommend you check out the Dog Times Patreon. Okay, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.